Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. It's Big Joe Shep, founder and chief bloke here at the ThreeBOD Rugby Group. And you are welcome to another Live at 5, a new series twice a week or whenever we decide we can fit one in, where we look at some breaking news, or we want to give a bit of a thought provoker, or we want to raise awareness of something. And it's about 10, 15, maximum 20 minutes. And today we are looking at episode 8. As ever, it is brought to you by our friends at CoffeeDog.ie and specifically SHEPs Blend. And now there is a page, if you go to CoffeeDog.ie, on the left-hand side, the SHEPs Blend, and you can order directly in beans or ground, and you can now wake up with Shep. Why wouldn't you want to? On with the show. Enough of that. Geez, king of the one-liners. We've got him on today. This man is a former USA Eagle. He's a World Rugby Commentator. In fact, actually, I don't know what he doesn't do. He's got more one-liners than a crew of 50 on the Route 66. It's Mr. Dallen STANFORD. Dallen, how are you, sir?
More steps on the Great Wall of China. Chief, thanks for having me on, Joe.
No problem at all. Buddy, right, today we are going to talk about a quick 15-minute Dallen STANFORD style interview, overview, and everything else view on Major League Rugby. So, give us a little bit of background on Major League Rugby, mate, would you?
Yeah, so there's been a few attempts in the US for professional 15s, and finally MLR came around in 2018. They started with 7 teams representing cities like Austin, Houston, San Diego, Colorado, Seattle, Utah, and New Orleans. It was really successful in the first year. Seattle won a thrilling final. And then in 2019, it expanded to 9 teams. And those teams added were the first Canadian franchise. So Canada got involved with Toronto, and New York were added as well. Seattle won again. So they won back-to-back titles. 2020, the season, of course, didn't go through the full season, but we had 3 teams added, which is really exciting. Total of 12 sides after Glendale dropped out. And that was New England, the Free Jacks from Boston, Old Glory DC from the nation's capital, and Atlanta, Georgia joined the fray as well. So that's kind of where it led up to this season, where we have 12 sides and all to play for.
And of course, that's broken down into, we'll have a look at the 2 conferences. Explain the conference system to us and how that all works, mate, would you?
Yeah, so very traditional in American sports, having the East and Western Conference, and it really fits in nicely this year. You've got 6 teams in each conference, so it's really great. So you're looking at the Western Conference there. These sides will play each other home and away, and then they'll play the other conference sides just once. So it's great because you have the rivalry of a home and away fixture against the teams in your conference, and then of course you at least get to match up one time in the season against the other sides. And the great thing about the conference is that the top 3 sides of each conference actually this year will go through to the playoffs, if you will. Seeds 2 and 3 play each other to see who plays the seed 1, and then you have the Eastern Conference and a Western Conference champion. They face off on the final, which will schedule for August 1st. So it's a really exciting, and you're guaranteed to have a team from each coast represented.
Ah, superb. So this is obviously the West Coast. Takeaway teams in here. Surprisingly, 2-time winners Seattle Seawolves at the bottom.
Yes, that's right, Joe. So they sunk to the bottom. They actually had a disappointing season last year. It was luckily cut short for them. But What is interesting here is San Diego were unbeaten last year. They were so strong with Ma'anonu and a bunch of other great signings leading charge. Some of them have left the franchise. And now it's LA, the new kids on the block, brand new this year. They're 2-0. They have a brilliant signings in Matt Ghetto and Adam Ashley Cooper from Australia. And the Utah Warriors are playing great rugby, a stunning forward pack they have as well. So it's good to see new teams challenging in the Western Conference and the same on the Eastern Conference as well.
We're going to move to them just now. Very interesting with the Free Jacks hoofing over the Warriors for the first win at home. We'll come back to those slightly, but that given how high flying Utah have been, that was pretty monumental and historic. But we'll come back to the Free Jacks shortly. So over to the eastern side. Run us through these then, buddy.
Yeah, so New York were looking really strong last year, and Toronto as well. So this is really interesting. They're in, and again, it's early part of the season. They only played two to three games each. But Rugby ATL from Atlanta, Georgia, are doing superbly. They have a bunch of Life University students that have come through and graduated into the senior ranks. So it's a homegrown program, which I think is really important too, producing potential US Eagles as well down the line. And then the same with the New England Free Jacks. They have signed 19 new players from last year, and a bunch of these players, even though some of them are from New Zealand and other countries, are eligible through their parents or having been born here in the US to play for the USA. So that's really interesting that those sides don't have to rely on international signings to be near the top of the table. New Orleans is another team that you need to watch out for. They're going to be great this season as well.
Absolutely. And then that's how both conferences come together, isn't it, overall? So,
yes, exactly. watching here, if you look at this, obviously this is just to kind of give the fans just an overview to see where their teams sit. But again, the most important thing is where you sit in your conference. And of course, there's still a long season to be played. I think the biggest takeaway so far are the upsets. From week one, because there's been no preseason, these teams are still figuring themselves out, still figuring what works and what doesn't. Some teams are missing several players due to visa issues still. So there's still a lot going on. We're still early doors here.
And what are your key takeaways for teams? You mentioned sort of one or two there to watch. Have any of those surprised you? Sort of, well, the Giltinis, apart from the name and the logo, which I found funny, but geez, there's some money being put into them. Our good friend Adam Ash has gone from Glasgow Warriors to the Giltinis as well. Great player. Any of those teams which are starting to fly high surprised you, taking you by surprise? Yeah,
so Los Angeles was an interesting one because, you have unbelievable signings coming in. But again, if you're a little bit old in your career, how do you gel, as a team? And it's a physical competition, but they've done superbly. They put on 49 points to nothing against Seattle, who are the two-time champions, in 49 minutes. And just shows you their ability. I also love that they're playing at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It's an unbelievably iconic venue. Whether or not they're going to, fill it out over the years to come, we'll have to see. But I just like the endeavor. I think it's great to have a team represented from Los Angeles as well. The surprise, I think, a team like Old Glory DC, a team like Rugby ATL, those are teams that have been building their squad over the last 12 months or so, and it's really starting to show in the field, which is really exciting to see. Joe, if you ask me who's going to play in the final, I do not know, and if anybody can guess it, I'll tell you what, they're a bit of a Nostradamus in the modern day era.
I tell you what is really, really good. We'll just take a couple of comments coming in from people who say, you're all welcome to today's live at 5 from 3BOD Rugby Group. I am joined by the legendary former USA Eagle, current World Rugby Commentator, and so much more, Dallen STANFORD, looking at a quick overview of the MLR. If you missed how the conference system works, the two conference systems, and how they all go through to the playoffs and stuff, then go back to the beginning of the show, and Dallen covers all that expertly there. Mate, listen, the Free Jacks. Tell us about your relationship with the Free Jacks and what makes it for you a team to be working with, because it's I have my own views on it and I love working with them. But what drove you to them?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things that make a great organization. Number one is the people behind the organization, right? And interesting enough, my wife and I were relocating from Los Angeles to New England. And the day we were going to the airport, we're in the car there. I get a call from David Barry, the founder of the Jester Sevens, Island 7 sponsor, great man. He also is one of the owners of the Free Jacks. And he said, Dallen, I don't know where you're flying off to today, but wherever you're relocating to, we need some help with our content creation and we'd love to have you on board. And I said, well, I'm actually going to Boston. So it just ended up being a great fit there. Alex Magleby, the main guy behind the CEO, we've gone back a long time. We traveled to the Rugby World Cup when he was coaching the US national men's sevens team together. So the people behind are really fantastic. The fact that they want to connect with the communities, take rugby to the young boys and girls of tomorrow, I think that is a key takeaway why I love them so much. And look, they're also in the product of entertaining, right? So, they call it rugbytainment. So while yes, it's great to have a winning team, I think it's important to connect with the fans, and they're doing a great job of that. And I'm just thrilled to be involved, behind the scenes, working with them. That doesn't detract from me able to commentate, the rest of the Major League Rugby teams. And of course, as you have to be partial whenever you're calling a game, and that's certainly the case. While I might be wearing a Free Jacks jersey now, it's every team has my support, and I think the Free Jacks are going about and doing it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a genuine pleasure being able to work with you on sort of producing their monthly shows, the Together We Ride series. What a statement for me is the fact that I buy into people, I buy into an organization. Everybody has a secondary role. Everybody's involved, and nothing's too difficult for people. And the amount of media they get called on to do, and getting the message across. And even yesterday, if you haven't seen yesterday's show, ladies and gents, go back to a New England Free Jacks page. And in fact, it's on 3BOD, 3BOD Rugby Group as well. But go to the New England Free Jacks page and support her. They're our team that we're supporting, and we're very proud to say that, not just because we produce the shows, but because it's that feel that they make you feel welcome. And sometimes in life, it's about timing and coming together and the right people, and the universe just gels. And I think that is for the Free Jacks. And I think the first game of the season against the Giltinis on the road, and yeah, what an iconic stadium that is. That will get filled at some point for something. But, that's now on my bucket list to go, as well as Union Point clearly as well. So it's that sort of feeling. taking that a stage further, I get a wider feeling that this time round, the MLR is coming of age and probably has the best opportunity from an outsider's perspective to really, really explode and make it happen from the ground up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. There are a couple of key important things, to make a league successful. You need good broadcast partners. And the fact that they got CBS Sports Network and Fox Sports is key to that driver. The digital audience is sometimes even more important because you've got fans that perhaps can't attend in person, but domestically want to watch or overseas. And so the fact that they established a platform called the Rugby Network is huge, so folks can watch the games internationally, which is awesome, making it easier to connect with the new fans. Whenever you're behind a paywall, it's very tricky to engage with new audiences that just want to sample rugby and try it out. I think US, here you have a lot of fans that are intrigued by rugby, but they might not know more about it. So they need to see it to want to be able to fall in love with the game. So I think that's key. And I think the 12 teams, we have 11 in the US now and 1 in Canada, are doing a great job with connecting with, their local communities. And as soon as, more COVID restrictions are relaxed and people are able to get back into that community, I think that's a kind of a great driver for the sport to connect there. And, we even heard from Nate Ebner, was on our show yesterday, famed football legend. And he's going around, obviously promoting rugby because of its values. And so, especially with the American audience, once they see that it's not just about the product on the field, but it's about the, long-lasting effects of rugby and what it does to people and connects folks through a positive lifestyle, I think they're going to fall in love with it.
Absolutely. And for anybody, again, who didn't really, please go back and watch the show yesterday, not just because it was expertly produced as ever and hosted, but actually the 20-minute clip, the pre-recorded clip of Dallen speaking with the great Nate Ebner is something that you would want to show your kids because the transition and what he took away from on rugby, and he's a 3-time NFL Super Bowl winner, isn't he? And what he learned from rugby and took into that, and his view and his vision, and just a bloody gentleman. It's about listening to the beast, Tendai. There are people out there like that who just you could sit and listen to for hours and hours and hours. And if you do nothing else, find 20 minutes, please, of your time to go and listen to the interview between Dallen and the great Nate Ebner as well. So that's superb. Right, who have we got on? Philip Carter Harris. Again, nice to see you back on again. Together we ride. Indeed we do. It's the battle cry of the New England Free Jacks. And there's a great there's a great fans anthem, isn't there, coming in New England now, that's been created by one of the fans. And I love that as well, the way that just took off and then the players got involved and absolutely superb. So Phil says that you're looking sharp in your Free Jacks top. Gregor Galway from up in Ulster. He loves the New York rugby team. Dermo Rourke says, great to see rugby taken off so successfully in the US. And again, go back to, I think this is the time. Brandon Smith from Brandon Smith's Rugby, who hosts our Welsh Rugby Roundup show for us. Evening, guys. Hope you're all well. Really enjoyed watching MLR so far this season. And yeah, I think it is fair to give a shout out to the Rugby Network for a fantastic job of the content they've been sharing and all the shows. I've been able to watch the games live, which actually is interesting because they're barred, aren't they, for 24 hours from Canada and the US. So we're watching them around the globe as they're happening late on in the night, but that's really, really good. Philip adds on the young can learn from the stars and develop into better players. Eleni in Greece, our star lady, totally agree. There's a correct mindset the MLR has there. Johnny Pullen, who's the founder of CoffeeDog.ie. There we go. Made SHEPs Blend for me. Good man yourself, Johnny. Hope that you are well. And what says New York needs a rebound and a venue trust team. Look, we're all growing together in this game. Dallen STANFORD, tell us what you're hoping will come out of the next sort of 12 months overall for the MLR, mate.
Yeah, well, firstly, we just hope that the season continues. We hope there's a final on August 1st on CBS Network, which would be huge. I think it's such an exciting game on the field with a bunch of international stars and a bunch of local, players developing here and Eagles. I think that's so good. I think if more sponsors and partners can connect with the teams and make it more viable and sustainable for each franchise, that will be key. And then in the off season, I really love the work the teams are doing behind the scenes with the community. I think that's such an important part of rugby, such an important part of the game. And more people will love the sport when they see that. So very exciting 12 months coming ahead. So again, there's more thrillers than Freddy Krueger out there.
There is indeed, and in fact, I'm going to reposition myself into the Union Point Training Stadium. Look at that! I like that. I'll have to come and train there one day. Get my old knackered bones rolling around with the lights when I come across there. It's on my bucket list to come and visit too. Ladies and gents, listen, thanks for joining us today on a quick question. Quick question from Eleni in Greece, who is one of the leading people who is leading the surge in women's rugby and rugby overall, along with Yannis and Penny in Greece. Quick question: how's the women's game coming along for you, Don?
Yeah, great question. So the national teams have been assembled in Colorado at their new training facility there at Rugby Town USA National Training Center, preparing for the Women's World Cup. So it's great to see that there's a broader squad. There were 50 to 60 players included in that. And the women's sevens team is, currently in Dubai preparing for, the Olympic Games and the rest of the Sevens World Series. The domestic game there's been a challenge, honest challenge because of COVID and restrictions. The WPL has, had to stall for a little while. And so as soon as things get up and running, we'll see how that goes. I do like, though, that some of the Major League Rugby teams are connecting with local women's teams in their areas to help promote the game and showcase the game. So, for example, in New England, we'd love to see a women's game and the men's game on the same day at the same venue, back to back, so fans can get to showcase and watch both the women and the men in action.
Good man, it's all excellent. Christian, hi, Christian. Sorry, Phil. You beat me to it there. We'll have to give the Free Jacks a butchers when he can. I strongly recommend everybody this year to support them, because that's where the ThreeBOD Rugby Group is. Where can he get a jersey from? And quick as a flash, there we go, shops. And obviously I've got a green screen on the background, and our shows, the Live at 5, are partnered with CoffeeDog, but I have courtesy of Miss Dallen STANFORD and the New England Free Jacks, my own New England Free Jacks hoodie, and one of the best pieces of stash I've got. And it's bloody lovely when it was cold over here. I was wearing it in downtown Gorey in County Wexford. New England Free Jacks didn't get a few looks, let me tell you, but very, very proud I was too. Johnny Pullen, my pleasure, mate. So there we are, Dallen STANFORD. Legend that he is on one-liners, legend as a rugby player, legend as a commentator, and it's a real pleasure working with you. Become a very, very good friend, and I have learned a lot in a very, very short space of time. This has been another ThreeBOD Rugby Group Live at 5. We're up to almost 20 minutes. These are growing. They're only meant to be 10-minute quick ones. I'll have to shut up more and let the guests speak more. Dallen STANFORD, continue doing what you're doing, mate. You're inspiring everybody, and love working with you as part of the New England Free Jacks, and we'll chat to you very, very soon.
Awesome, Joe. Thanks for having me, pal. Take care,
no
my friend.
As ever, lads and lasses, thank you for watching and supporting everything we do. If you've got a topic you want us to cover on the Live at 5, then just tell us, and we'll chat through it together. If you want to come on and chat about something, you're welcome. It's a fans show for the fans, and if there's somebody you want us to get on, then tell us and we will do so. We are, as ever, partnered with our good friends at CoffeeDog.ie. Go to CoffeeDog.ie, and on the left-hand side is a page now called SHEPs Blend. Go to there and you can order. And SHEPs Blend was made in my likeness, so you now can wake up with Shep. Oh, why wouldn't you want to? Until the next show, we'll see you soon. Take care and stay safe. Got a meal on my hugger, tag a slangafol.